Ready.
Hello, everyone. Back to one of the Museum of Philately's musings, or Museum Musings as we call it. So welcome back. I'm Marcus Orsi, and my colleague is
Devlan Crook.
Yeah, great to see you again, Devlan. We don't actually get to see each other very often in the flesh, but we do connect on a daily basis, which is great.
Great.
Lots of fun things happening in the museum, which will be we'll have a newsletter coming out next week, which will keep everybody informed about what we're doing. So please watch out for that, and please sign up. I know you'll say this later on, but I should just make a plug. Please sign up to the newsletter because, as I said, there's lots of fun stuff in it. So this week, what's on the agenda this week?
Well, I was really excited. Yesterday, through the post, my copy of Stamp Collector magazine came to me, and there's a little advert which we're keenly interested in, Adventures in Philately webinar series, which starts on the 19th of July, which is us who have joined forces with these guys to put on a bit of content about stamp collecting. The first one's about fakes, forgeries and funnies. It's on Monday 19th of July, 6:30, and really excited about that.
Is that 6:30 UK time?
Yep, 6:30 p.m. UK time. I think that's so that it is an unusual time for us in the UK, I suppose, but it'll pick up a wider audience, people in Asia, America, and
but look, it is what it is. 6:30 UK time. That's great. You can have it while you're having your bangers and mash. So, well, look, what's the reason? The reasons for doing it. We talked about this before we started the museum musing, Devlan, and I think we really want to broaden both young philatelists and old philatelists, broaden their views on all the stories that we are now filling our museum up with. We want to broaden people's knowledge of those stories, and at the same time, we want to jargon bust some myths where we're talking about regumming or we're talking about forgeries the next time. So that's really what we want to do. We want to make it interactive so that a collector or a young philatelist, whoever it is, comes on and he can go away with something, go away with a story. He can go away also with something practical that he can use when he's handling stamps or looking at stamps or talking to people.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what we've decided to do, is to split sort of almost into in-depth anecdotes and stories to start with, and then always finish with a bit of a practical, share some insights about some of the technical parts of philately that perhaps don't get talked about too often. And I think indeed on that first session it's regumming, which is something to chew on.
Yeah, well, those things I think often. And I think the history of stamp collecting has always been around the local dealer. I mean, I think we've mentioned this before in previous discussions. The local dealer would be the guy who the would-be collector would go to. It could be a stamp shop, it could be an office somewhere, and the collector would go to him. And in the old days, he would be schooled by the dealer. The dealer would say, well, don't buy this stamp because of this, buy this one. And he'd actually practically help the guy. Well, forgetting the pandemic, in the last 25, 30 years, stamp shops have disappeared. I mean, I remember talking to an old friend of mine, Ron Grierson, who ran Enfield Stamp Shop. And Ron's been a friend of mine for years. And he told me that back in the 80s, there was something like 600 shops in the UK. And I think we're down to probably less than 10% of that. So the reality is that the shops have disappeared. Collectors don't have anywhere to go. So part of what we're doing, and this may be open up, and I think the museum also, we want the museum to be a resource center for people to go to. So I think part of what we're doing is we're kind of replacing that real need for collectors to have a place to go that's safe. You don't feel like, you feel secure to listen to people who really know what they're talking about. I think we know what we're talking about, right?
Let's hope so.
And they feel safe, but they're going to come away with something really important. And that there's, so I think that's one of my passions about what we're doing here.
Yeah, we want to share some of the stories. I mean, it's, me and you are very privileged. We hear a lot of things that are going on both in the past and currently in Philately, whether it be collectors or collections or rarities. And it's just brilliant to get into a sort of a platform where we can share some of these stories in a really sort of engaging way. Often it's two-dimensional if you just write something on a computer screen, but these webinars will give us an opportunity to share a bit of our personality, but also a bit of our knowledge and use the word expertise loosely on some of these things. But yeah, our enthusiasm for getting across the message about Philately, both to a broad audience, young and old, male and female, and of course now we can do it around the world, Marcus.
Yeah, and I suppose we should mention Matt.
Yes, I think it was Matt that sort of came to us with this idea. Matt Hill is the editor of, I think he's the editor of this magazine and one or two others, but he came to us with this idea, this concept, and I think that we were right behind it from the start, weren't we? We felt this was a positive thing for the industry and certainly for us as well at the museum.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously, magazines are still a great medium. Books and magazines are a great medium, but we realize that also people are loving the interaction and the look and feel of webinars like this. So we are looking forward to it. We certainly would love your input. Obviously, praise and positive inputs always welcome, but criticism or observations would be great. If you watch them and you have a comment or we say something that's completely wrong, which is very possible, please feel free to contact us through the museum. Anything else?
Well, just quickly, so the first one's Fakes, Forgeries and Funnies.
Oh yeah,
that's right. And then in August there's Fads and Fashions in Philately, which I'm really looking forward to. In September, it's Everything You Didn't Know About the World's Most Famous Collectors. And then in October, we're doing The Weird and the Wonderful. And then we're rounding off in November with Who's Responsible for the World's Philatelic Treasures. Yeah. So there's plenty to go out there.
And of course, this is all of these we will be drawing on information that Devlan has written in articles and information that is already on the museum. So it's all surrounding the themes that are part of what the Museum of Philately is all about. So yeah. I think that's what's nice, is we can draw on that, and that hopefully will increase our viewing audience on the museum. So by all means, as you listen to us over these months, please go on to the museum and enjoy it. And again, comments and observations about how it works and so on would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, and if people do want to sign up for these webinars, there's a link on our website on the blog. You'll see the Adventures in Philately logo. Click on that and it tells you how to book on the sessions. And just the other thing is just a word of thanks to David Feldman SA, International Auctioneers in Switzerland. They're our sponsors and we're really grateful to them, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their support. So a big thank you to them. So
I think that's everything for today. We will definitely be back with further museum musings. Again, as Devlan mentioned, newsletter coming out next week, so please look out for that. And we will see you again soon.
Yeah, see you again soon.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Marcus.